friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hello, Levi.
Hello, Jen. We are doing the Heavensward Blacksmith quest.
We
It's
are.
our first crafter gen of this expansion,
Do-do-do-do.
which means we get introduced to the all-new collectibles and script mechanic.
Awesome.
Right,
Great.
Jen?
Not through this quest, but
Well, yes, through the quest, because you are required to engage in that to actually complete the quest.
you have to learn Master Blacksmithing 3.
Yep.
So yes.
So, Jen,
gotta do that.
what are collectibles?
Collectible is a special material that is it's not craftable, but you can go out and gather or mine them or craft them and turn them in for scripts. And scripts can be exchanged for a variety of things, including, I think, master recipe books,
Correct.
gear,
Mm-hmm.
materia,
All the things.
a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff behind the script system. So yeah. It also is a great way to level.
Yes. I leveled from 60 to 65, actually, because I ran into a gear issue. I didn't have the gear needed to do the quest turn-ins.
Oh.
So I had to grind out some collectibles, turn them in for script, get gear from said script, plus get the aforementioned Master Blacksmith book.
Damn.
So in the process of just making enough crap to turn in for that stuff, I leveled from 60 to 65.
Yeah, it's big piles of XP.
Correct.
If you make if you mine or gather or craft a really good collectible, because there's different grades of quality. So
it lets you get something more than like normal quality. It's like more granularity than either the worst or the best.
Yes.
Nothing in between. And sometimes, especially when you're doing like an expert craft, which we'll get to much later, sometimes you gotta just like cut bait or whatever the fishers call it, and wrap up your craft without it having be the best quality, because you're just gonna trash your craft if you try and press for like maximum collectability.
Sure. Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
like I'll just make a thing as opposed to destroying all of my mats.
Exactly.
Anyway, so
last comment for me, Jen, before we get into the story. Heavensward materials are fucking expensive AF.
Oh. I mean, well, okay. I don't know why I said that, as if I'm like, oh, really? That's weird.
Did you not just finish the quest
they are.
like an
yes.
hour ago, Jen?
No. I had to pre-make all of my stuff. And, I mean, luckily, I had to use my main because I had to do New Game Plus. But that means I still had to make the things. And my blacksmith on my alt, because I've pretty much leveled up, well, to like 90-ish. All of my other crafters, except for like blacksmith and armorer, because I don't know why, I'm just, and culinarian, for whatever reason. So my blacksmith is level 63. So I didn't just have gobs of this stuff lying around, but honestly, gathering them was very simple. So I didn't really have any issues with that.
That requires you to have these zones unlocked and also flight.
So correct. So I was like, I'm just going to buy it because I don't feel like going all over town or the planet gathering some stuff. But in some cases, I was like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not spending $1,800 on a hard silver nugget or whatever. I think those were way more expensive.
Yeah, that
they were
sounds
absolutely insane.
about right.
Then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a bunch of hard silver nuggets and make a ton of money.
Nice.
But yeah, this particular tier of stuff is bonkers.
Yep, it was pretty dumb.
Yeah, mithrite anything, hard silver anything, birch lumber. Oh, no, it was like hallowed chestnut lumber. God damn. Because that requires 3 steps to make.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so, Godspeed to all y'all who are embarking on this. Worth
For
it, though.
For some reason, though, the Stormblood materials tend to be pretty crap for price. As in, like, low.
Yeah.
Since I leveled into the 60s anyways, like, fuck it, I'm just going to, like, gear up to the first tier of the Stormblood materials. So I made myself, like, the level 61, 62 main and offhand items. And the materials for that expansion are pennies.
Nice.
It just might be, like, server economics. I don't fucking know. But
yeah.
Either way, though, it was night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Enough capitalism talk, Jen. Let's talk about some Blacksmith story.
Yay! Okay.
Jen, what happened last time on our Blacksmith adventure?
Fuck you. No! You don't get to do that.
I just did.
It was like a year ago.
I know.
Oh, it was more than a year ago.
Jen, this is a real softball question, too.
Oh, my God. All right, well, we join the Blacksmiths Guild. We make some stuff.
For?
A dude. I don't remember his name.
You don't remember old Brithael?
No. Brithael, of course. But we're not making stuff for Brithael. We're making stuff for, like, his nemesis. The guy who's like, Brithael sucks. Don't make any stuff for him. You're way too good for him. Make stuff for me. And then so we make stuff for that guy, and he's like, wow, you're real good. You shouldn't work for Brithael anymore. And Brithael's like, man, fuck that guy. And the nemesis guy eventually gets like a big crush on a gladiator lady and wants us to make some stuff for her. And I don't know.
And then we meet the Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 Easter egg character, the Bronze Bull, or something like that.
Right. And we make him a new thing, too.
Anyway, Jen, I would have accepted we swung a hammer for old Brithael as the recap.
Fuck off, man. Yeah. You know what? I'm not playing your games.
All right. Well, I'm fucking off. So, Jen, have fun with the episode.
All right. Okay. I got tons of notes. Here we go. So anyway, we meet up with Brithael, for whom we have famously swung a hammer. And he tells us that a man from Ishgard has been snooping around the guild in hopes of sniping their best, and that means us. The person that wants to talk to us is hanging out at the Drowning Wench. We go meet a gentlemanly-looking gentleman, and his name is Framondane.
This is an older Elezen wearing some practical robes. This is actually the script crafting set from Heavensward, which means that he and I were twinsies, which was a bit awkward during this.
What is that called? What's the name of that stuff?
I don't know.
I think it starts with an R.
Sure.
Anyway, it's going to bother me. So he is hoping to retain our services for his mistress, Baroness Lorice of House Gervaint. One time, House Gervaint formed the backbone of the Temple Knights. However, they have fallen on hard times and have lost almost everything, including Lorice's father recently. However, she has resolved to earn back her family's good name by practicing day and night with the sword. They can't currently pay us any actual money, but he does hope the honor of serving a former high house of Ishgard will be enough to titillate us.
Jen, aid her, and I dare say your talent will become famous throughout the realm.
Maybe.
So we are being paid in exposure.
Right. Yeah, he's doing the influencer shit.
Disclaimer before we get going here. This quest kind of makes us the butt of a joke. Like, obviously, the meme is that our guy can't say no to anything, so we just will go along with any old situation for better or for worse. But also, our guy is kind of repeatedly made fun of during this quest line by people who are like, why are you doing this? You're not getting paid anything.
And we're like,
It does not give you a chance to even say, hey, I'm going to do this because I believe in your cause. There are no custom dialogue options. We just get made fun of by everyone pretty much for going along with this.
Why? Why exactly? And we don't have an answer.
Anyway.
So our adventuring career does, pay all our bills. So we're just doing this for funsies.
Yes, exactly. That's why. But it does rub me the wrong way a bit that we get
negged
for this constantly.
I look like a weirdo.
Correct. That's all. Moving on. Fred Mondane informs us that he'll be at the Jeweled Crozier in Ishgard if we accept. And he makes to leave, murmuring to himself, not enough to hire a chocobo home. Well, I can walk and sleep out. Oh, please excuse me. It's nothing, really. And he runs off.
They pour.
So
we meet up with Framondane at the Jeweled Crozier. He's happy to see that we have accepted his offer, because what else are we going to do? He asked to meet him there because, well, that's where he works. He has this second job to help pay the bills. He would prefer that we not tell the Baroness about it. Please and thank you. And just then, the Baroness herself shows up. And this is a very, very young woman.
She is like half my Ellison height.
14. She's
thereabouts.
Real young, yes.
She also has young features.
Yep.
Her hairstyle, though, reinforces the whole look because she's got this barrette, which I haven't seen since middle school.
It's a headband. Yeah. She's got bangs. She's got a headband.
Yeah.
She's, very youthful.
But she is fully clad in arms and armor.
Yes.
Fromondane quickly pivots. She asks him, she overhears him.
Please don't tell the Baroness about. And she's like, what? Don't tell me about what?
And he was like, I was just saying that you were busy with practice, which is a terrible cover.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with what you just said.
He's trying to make some excuses, but
he changes the subject.
Yeah. It's like, not to tell you that I have hired us a smith to keep you outfitted as a hopeful knight. Because that's her jam right now. She's practicing so she can enter a tournament, win it, and earn knighthood for herself. So this girl, she seems very mature for her age. Way more mature than Fromondane at this point. He's not a bad dude. He's not a mess, but
he's kind of a mess.
He's a little bit of a mess. She kind of has to keep him in check, and she gets exasperated by his hijinks frequently. And obviously Fromondane is just kind of like besotted with her, not in a creepy way, but he's a servant of the house. He feels he's very loyal to this house and therefore loyal to the Baroness. So while she's there, she's like, oh hey, welcome to the team, I guess. And she asks Fromondane if she should pick up any groceries on the way home. And he says, yeah, if you could pick up a couple of pumpkins, that'd be great. And she's like, okay, you know what? I'll head off to the Broom. Typically, they have really good deals on food right before closing. So, yeah. And she leaves to go grocery shopping, the Baroness doing the grocery shopping. And Fromondane obviously is like, that this sucks. That she's got to pinch pennies and coupon cut or whatever as a Baroness. But
he now explains some of their house history to us. House, what'd you call it, Jen? Gervant?
Gervant. Yeah, sure. Why?
I feel like that T should be silent or something.
Gervant.
Gervant seems like, well, I would say Jen, which tells me that it's wrong.
Yeah, because it's hard to know. But if you want to say Gervant, you can.
Nothing sounds right to me. All right, I'm going to truck forward because I am not a fan of any of those options.
Okay. House J.
House Gervant did not tumble from knighthood. Or rather, Sir Gervant did not. He was pushed, and his family lost much in the fall. Sir Gervant is the former man of the house and the Baroness' father. He was disgraced, and his whole house got taken down with him, and he tried to get themselves back into favor with the powers that be, but he died in the calamity, and now they're down to like 2 people, being the Baroness and her loyal servant. But his daughter carries with her her father's dream of seeing their house restored. And her opportunity approaches, and she now explains the tournament bit, where there shall be a grand tourney, and the Temple Knights shall extend a knighthood to the champion of the tourney. Yet, as good as the Baroness is, she wants for refinement in her techniques and equipment both. But with a master smith's aid, she can shine. So that's our intro. We're on now to our first turn-in. We leave and come back, and we greet Fromondane again, who immediately starts complaining about his lady's equipment. Her armor is in a pitiful state. Take her cuirass. The plates are sturdy, but the joints have rusted. Yet she cares not. She's going out to train all the more often now that the grand tourney draws near. And he gets himself worked up into a state. Just the other day, I thought her resting, only to find a note saying that she had gone beastkin hunting near Falcon's Nest. Alone, and she said she'd go back today. Good gods. She could be in terrible danger. And I can't leave my second job to rescue her.
Right.
So now we get sent into the field to go and track down the Baroness.
So in Falcon's Nest, we find Larice, she's doing just fine. She is surrounded by a bunch of bound convicts. And apparently, she has decided to work part-time for House Durandare, doing patrols in Falcon's Nest to earn some extra coin and experience. And she's like, this is great. So she just finished tying up these 3 escaped cut purses. And she seems mildly annoyed that the quote-unquote, the steward sent us to check on her. And
side note, Jen, she has lost her armor.
She's just wearing like a tunic and she's got no armor on.
Yes.
So his fears were warranted. You know, they literally just fell off. And also we noticed that her lack of armor, and she's like, God damn it. So during the scuffle with the escapees, she tells us her armor broke and the pay from the job won't cover repairs. And she also doesn't want us making rivets for free. So she's like, you know what, don't make me stuff for free. I'm just going to have to deal with it, because she's very proud.
No matter, an iron will triumphs over all, as her father used to say. May Helone rest his soul. So now we go back to Fremondain and tell him that she's fine, and that she's protected by her iron will. So it's all good. But Fremondain notes that her father's actual saying was, an iron will triumphs over all, when steel armor defends it.
Well,
a very topical.
You know, she's making lemons out of lemonade, right? She's cherry picking, but
but now he leans on us to make her the rivets for free. Well, actually at a loss, because again, stuff expensive.
And we got to make 3 sets of these bitches.
But please, a smith of your reputation would not deny us now, would you?
So manipulative.
House Trevant remembers her allies, I promise you.
You know, I don't doubt it. And like, who did we talk? Oh, we talked to Brithael in a bit. And honestly, he's like, you know what? If this is basically a gamble as a profession, right? As a professional, like you get in on the ground floor, like maybe as like a stylist with an up and coming celebrity, and you're like, this person's going to be huge. And if they get huge, I'm going to get huge along with them. So let's just say this is a calculated risk on our part.
We are already the best smith in Limsa, Jen. I mean, we're already pretty set.
Yeah, well, you know, Limsa's a small potatoes.
Oh my God.
This is Ishgard, man. Right?
Sure.
Moving on
if
up.
You can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Also, there's a ton of competition in Limsa. In Ishgard, they've been isolated for so long, we'd be like the only smith in Ishgard. You know what?
That is so rude to all of Ishgard and like the ironworks.
No, they suck. We're better.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, he also wants us to keep this fact from Lorisse, because if she were to find out that we're making this stuff for free, she would probably lose focus on the tournament or whatever. Again, he's a manipulative guy. So, you know, after a little bit, we learn once again that Lorisse has fled into the danger zone to practice, this time to the Givernian forelands, directly into the fucking lap of the Horde.
Straight into the Horde.
Straight into the Horde.
We have to stop her.
We have to stop. He's once again terrified for her, and he's like, intercept her at Tailfeather. You can intercept her at Tailfeather. So,
and Fremondain will join us as soon as his shift ends.
Right, and he doesn't have transportation, so he's going to have to like walk or whatever. So we go to Tailfeather, and we find her, and she's hanging out with a wounded hunter. And we show up, and once again, she displays some exasperation at Fremondain's helicopter stewarding. And the hunter composes himself and says, we shouldn't worry about Lorisse. She fights with the strength of 10. I believe it. And she saved him from a wild
She fights
chocobo.
like a behemoth 10 times her size. That is much more than the strength of 10, Jin. Let's give her full credit.
Okay. She's big behemoth strength.
Yes.
Again, I still believe it. And she saved him from wild chocobo just now. Suddenly, we hear like a cacophony of metal on metal, and Fremondain rushes up, and he's having a fit about Lorisse's assured peril. And so this man has dug up some ancient armor, but only half of it. And he ran all the way from Ishgard wearing it.
He's wearing some ancient armor.
He's with the top half of the tin can.
This
is what he's wearing.
The chunk armor from A Realm Reborn.
Like what, level 30, I think?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, where you it's the tin can, man. So he dug up something from the House of Gervain basement and then, like, rattled his way all the way to Tailfeather, huffing and puffing. Oh, God, she's so embarrassed right now. But she's fine. And the hunter reminds her, though, that her sword is not. It broke off in the chocobo. And Fromandain is even more horrified. He's just stacking horrifications on horrifications. Not the brass Viking sword, he exclaims. It's your favorite. And the hunter is like, I remember that piece of shite sword. And he offers one of his spares to Larice.
A dagger.
She's like, fucking, if... Well, no, he doesn't offer a dagger. She's like, I'll even take a dagger. You know, and she's like, that's cool because it's his way of thanking her for saving him, so that I think that's a fair trade. She's not accepting charity, and she's cool with it. And for Mondain, funnily enough, he's not stoked that she's forced to kind of like borrow somebody else's. It's not borrowing; she earned it, but whatever. But Larice tells Fromandain that like you can't be out here without steel. Like you need a weapon. So she heads back to Ishgard. And Fromandain asks us to then forge her one of them newfangled titanium swords that all the kids are raving about these days. You know, one worthy of House Gervain.
Jen, what's our payment?
Well, nothing.
Incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Jen, the payment will be Milady's smile when she wins the tourney.
Ah, that's worth 1,000,000 gil right there. We are a sucker, and we go make this amazing titanium sword. And we go to the jeweled crozier to give it to the guy. And, good timing, because the trials are about to begin. But the two of us can't watch because we're not of the gentry, but we can join him outside the proving grounds to listen. After the bouts are done for the day, Larice runs out. Concerningly soon after the start of the tourney. This doesn't look very good. But our doubts are dispelled immediately as she rejoices in her winning the first round. She could have wielded our sword all day and then slain a worm after. So, you're welcome. And Fromandain reminds her one of her father's sayings. Is good luck not an ally of success? And she was like, but she continues, and that bad luck does not absolve failure. Ask only victory of your leaders, he told me. A commander can apologize for his defeat, but what need do his fallen soldiers have of apologies? Damn.
We now get the dirty laundry of the family. This is why her father was disgraced. It's because he shared his order's food with the starving, only to be tried for pilferage. Convicted and stripped of knighthood. He gave away the knight food to the common people.
Yeah, you can't do that. You know, fuck the poors.
That food's for knights.
Yeah, the law is, whenever possible, you fuck the poors. So that's a whole bunch of shit, and it also does not speak very well to just the state of things in Ishgard, really. Like why would you want to be...
To be fair to Ishgard, that would be the case in any of the other city-states. Well, especially, but yes.
Sure, I know. So the issue is really that she's trying so hard to earn a place in the system that from the story of how her father's the honor of their entire house and family was stripped from them for something that was like objectively a nice and good thing to do, but the system took that as being like probably a threat to the system. And she wants to be a part of it. And hopefully, I mean, she can be the voice of reason from within, whatever. Like, so she doesn't want to join the knighthood so that she can be a part of that whole process. She wants to join the knighthood so that she can be a voice for the voiceless. She wants to be the do-gooder like that her father was, and hopefully try to, be the better influence from within. That's my interpretation.
She's going to change the system from the inside.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why. Yeah. So as the final bouts draw near, Fromandain asks that we work with Brithael on restoring the sword of House Gervain. Integrity. And it's only right that Lorries have it for the tournament, as she hopefully wins the knighthood. So we go back to Brithael. And we show him the sword, and he's like, oh, that's pretty much fucked. Also, why are you working for free? But he's like, you know what? This might actually be a huge opportunity for you. Getting in on the ground floor with a knight.
His quote, Jin, is, by the 12, what did I get you into?
By the 12. So he says the only one...
Have you ever heard of a bloke named Geralt?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit. So we reluctantly head to Hurstmill, and as we expect, Geralt is predictably brusque. What nuisance have you come to drop on me, Anvil? That sodden hunk of rust? I ain't touching nothing that ain't kettle-shaped for the next moon at this rate, what with all the orders I got. So we get brushed off by Geralt, and we go and talk to his assistant, Drake, who apologizes on Geralt's behalf and explains that he's mad because the debt collectors repossessed his favorite titanium lump hammer.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? If you made him a new one, he might listen to you. Because that's how he works. So we do that, and it does indeed work, because Geralt is Geralt. So he's like, all right, you made me the lump hammer, and let me take a look at this fucking sword again. So he takes his keen eye on the sword, and he says, if I ain't mistaken, and I rarely am, this is an adamantite blade. Pure, too. Whatever smelting technique the ancients used got it purer than most modern smithies could. Alas, it is not possible to make this thing battle-ready again. It is donezo. All is not lost. However, the hilt itself, that's the real treasure. That thing is actually a reliquary.
Not the hilt, the thing inside the hilt.
Right. So there's some kind of saint's bone or soul or whatever in it. So Geralt's idea is to craft an adamantite winglet in the same shape and size as the integrity, and then we can install the saint's innards or whatever back inside the new weapon, and then we still have passed on that power and the prayers of their ancestors and all of that stuff into the new sword.
So we go back to Ishgard and explain the plan, and Fremondane is on board. He believes that the bone in the hilt, Jin, not the innard. The bone is Saint Phineas. The fortress Hold's defenders fought valiantly against the dragon horde, but as the battle wore on, the stench of desperation began to permeate the air. It was then that a fluttering pennant bearing the device of a white swan appeared from behind the curve of the mountain path. The Lady Knight Phinia had arrived with reinforcements. Though yet a novice with the blade, Phinia was possessed of a spirit seemingly incapable of conceding defeat, and had proven her mettle on the field time and again. Thus did her presence serve to reignite the flagging courage of the defending soldiers, and inspire a miraculous retaliation against their winged foe. Revered for her unyielding conviction, Phinia was raised up as a saint of Halone.
Hell yeah. So
Remind you of someone, Jin?
Baroness Lorisse, absolutely.
Oh, I thought you meant Fremondane.
Oh, no.
With his tireless conviction.
Well, thanks for that, Levi. That's actually kind of great. So when we meet with Fremondane again, we learn that Lorisse has done exceedingly well in the tournament. And she's won 6 bouts with ease, and she's shut the mouths of all those who expressed their doubts. But now this is like the final round, and she is up against 8 others of equal skill. And her chance of victory is jeopardized by the lack of integrity. Get it? So he is delighted with the new sword, and he transfers the soul of Saint Phinia into it.
It's a bone.
The bone containing the soul and essence of Saint Phinia.
Extreme confusion about what is in this
Just let me
thing.
say my words. The meaning comes across. It's fine.
That
Whatever
seems
it
like
is.
heresy to me,
It's
actually,
like
to be transferring souls.
A chunk of her soul is inside the bone. It's part of the marrow. Everybody knows that.
That's what he said.
So, amazing. Lorisse walks up, and Fremondane presents her with the sword. Free of charge! And she, too, is overwhelmed by the majesty of the sword, but she balks at accepting it free of charge. That actually is unacceptable. So while the House of Gervaint has fallen, she is still a noble, and she will not beg for weapons. Her victory, if won, would be tarnished by the nature of the sword's acquisition. And she's also like, you know what? I always wondered how you were able to hire a blacksmith of my character's caliber. So all of this is real sussy. So she's like, I can't accept a sword.
Direct quote.
Sussy, yes. But Fromondain offers a rebuttal, and his manipulations actually are kind of, he applies them skillfully here. This isn't a manipulation. I think he has a good point.
It can be both.
Correct. But Baroness, only the blade has been remade. House Gervaint's prayers were yours and are yours. And what of the Warrior of Light? I'm just, She has poured her hopes into the weapon, as have I. We are the people you wish to protect, yes? How can you deny your duty to us? How can you just leave the sword to rust? A little manipulative, but also true. Like, okay, it's just a blade that's been remade. All of this other stuff belonged to you and wasn't altered. This is yours by right. And after his speech, Larice, she relents, and she accepts the sword. But she will offer us recompense. She can't just take this off her hands for nothing. So she hands over their family's last valuable, the Signing Rosary. I'm assuming it has like a swan on it or something.
Sure.
The deal is she will buy it back with the tournament money when she wins. And so with that, she heads off to the tournament.
But if she loses a single bout, there go her dreams of joining the Temple Knights. Forever.
She's a child. But I mean, she's a child in this tournament for knighthood. I mean, she's a fucking force to be reckoned with, obviously, but she is still this small, very young.
Well, speaking of, she heads back to the proving grounds, and Fromondain urges us to follow, to go give her some encouragement.
Yeah, he can sense that she's feeling a little unsure of herself, which is uncharacteristic of her, and he's like, okay, she needs some support right now. So we run after her, and before she heads into the proving grounds, we catch her and we're like, hey, go get him, kiddo. And she's actually grateful that we show up. And she says, so despite her stoicism, she has let the pressure of the moment get to her, with her father's words ringing in her ears like this whole time. He seems like quite the man, frankly. And she says one of these things that her father said was, never give up, never give in, as father said. Lead by example. No weakness, no faltering. I must be iron, unbending, unyielding, as father said. And he was a good leader, and she can be too. She can be a voice for the voiceless, and she will win. God damn it! I am Larice. What? How did she say her name?
De Gervaint. And just boom, there she goes. So we get a little cutscene here because we're not allowed inside of her entering the ring for the first bout in the final round. And she's all of what, like 4 feet tall? 2 feet tall.
Come on, no, she's 4 feet. 4.5. And she's up against this enormous Duskewhite Elizin, who is at least twice her height. And boom, like they face off, they do the initial performative pre-bout stuff, and then
they hold their blades.
They hold their blades in front of their face. Yes. It's a little bit of ritual. And she asks in this moment for her father to watch over her, and her sword in response gleams mysteriously. So we're outside waiting outside the proving grounds, and Fromondain, I guess, just got off of his shift, and he runs up to us. And she's already gone, but he's glad that we were able to speak to her, and let's go back to the Crozier and wait for news. And some time passes, like a long time passes. And Fromondain is, of course, beside himself, as is tradition. So at long last, we think, Larice arrives. And Fromondain is like, hey, you did it! Oh my god! And she hangs her head, and she shakes her head. She said, the sword performed beautifully. However, it was my strength that... And she trails off as Fromondain collapses in despair. And Larice turns away from us. She can't face us in this moment. And just then, a temple herald arrives. Ah, Baroness. The knights sent him to find her because she left before the tournament. She left the tournament before the awarding of honors. And she's a little confused and asks, like, should I not have left? I mean, I lost after the very first bout. And he says, the herald says, while you did not win the champion's laurels, you did win the title of Most Valiant. She went up against an opponent thrice her size and didn't flinch. And for a while there, the judges thought that she would pummel the man to death. And Sir Hendeloop himself will discuss her potential with the Lord Commander.
Who's that, Jen?
That's Sir Emmerich. Yeah. So that's amazing. And she is hereby given the position of apprentice squire in the Temple Knights, a position shared by many who went on to serve the Temple Knights admirably and with distinction. Fromondain this guy needs to emotionally regulate better. He's ecstatic. He's jumping up and down. He's like, fuck yeah, this is everything you wanted, right? And Larice, she humbly accepts the position. And the herald then asks, hey, where did you get that quote-unquote glorious sword? And she turns to us and she says, the master of the forge here made this for us. And she said the master forge restored integrity, the sword of House Gervain. And the herald says, I will remember that name, our name.
Boom, exposure.
Right?
This guy's gonna remember our name.
We use this payment in full.
Our star is rising, Jen.
And then he's like, I bid you adieu. I'll see you at practice or whatever. Oh, before he leaves, he gives Larice her winnings. And look at that. It's just the right amount to buy back her family's rosary. La, la, la. And she tells us, you know what, I called you a master, for a master you are. And I could have done none of this without your aid. And I need not continue. It is our exploits, our victories that history will remember, not our words. And I have no doubt you will be mighty indeed. May you ever reach new heights, my friend. And honestly, this is like getting a hell of a compliment she is like wise and mature and steady beyond her years. So, she's just an extremely impressive young woman. And I'm like, goddamn, this means a lot coming from her, frankly.
And that's that.
That's that. Yeah, we did some stuff. You know what, Fromondain, if you could kick us some coin maybe down the line, that would be nice. But we did agree to do this for nothing.
They have a long journey ahead of them still.
Right. She's very young. We're going to see dividends maybe in like a decade. Unless our friend, the Temple Herald, name drops us at every opportunity.
I don't think that the Temple Knight pay is going to pay dividends. You have to have those lands and holdings and all that stuff. You got to have the downlines, Jen, to get those dividends. Well, and she has nothing.
Yeah, I don't know what their situation is, but she's doing it. She's building their house up from the ground.
Sure, but in terms of realistic expectations, it sounds like her father lost everything, which means they may have like a house somewhere. I don't know how big it is. I'm guessing it's not their former estate, but she'd have to like win and be awarded lands and titles and all that shit to actually gain the wealth that comes along with her house.
Right.
It will not be just from like her pay essentially as a squire. So
I don't really know how that system all works, but she's doing it. If anybody's going to do it, it'll be her. No, like she's going to be a knight. She's going to put her fucking life on the line. for her nation, and you earn that shit. But again, she did learn, she's very young and very proud, but there are moments when you need to just realize that maybe you do deserve some things every now and then. But we'll never know.
Take your advice.
How dare you?
Got her.
Absolutely not. Do as I say, not as I do.
Anyway, Jen, what do you think of this story?
Oh, it's quite a sobering fall from the previous week's content, which was just
I wouldn't use the term fall.
No. But this was it was less entertaining, but it was still like, I don't know, it was a nice story.
I think that the story was more, I guess, engaging than last week's content. Last week being Paladin.
No. The content last week, it was not engaging for the right reasons.
Yes.
But this actually was very interesting. Like,
yes.
Yeah, this had a lot of depth. And honestly, I wish we could follow her story. I think it would be very cool. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, I'd call it more like kind of short and sweet.
Yes. It also helps that there are far fewer quest steps than A Realm Reborn.
Of course, yeah. It felt, though, like the quest steps were very brief, as in, like, they did not have us run errands forever or, like, camp out in a giant-ass dialogue.
Honestly, they were...
At the same time, though, they also did not have the filler steps where it's like, go fight 5 guys and come back.
Yeah,
we'll have a story next time.
It was like all the meat. It was like the dense story without all the bullshit.
This was a well-balanced course, not too heavy and no filler.
There you go.
Did not leave us hungry for more either.
Yeah, we didn't fill up on bread.
Jen's hungry for dessert, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, always.
Yes. Dessert being her continued story.
Aw.
That's all I got, Jen.
That's all I got.
Great.
Yeah. That's Blacksmithing in Heavensward.
That's Blacksmithing in Heavensward. So, next time we are back onto the old MSQ. We'll be playing through the quest Disclosure.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you for not giving in to influencer pressure to give them goods and services for no money. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. You can find us on Blue Sky at podreturnffxiv. Check the show notes for our Discord. You can join up and get on some group runs, share some memes, share your glams, talk about your life. It's a really excellent little community on there, and we would love to have you. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv. And for $1 a month, you get access to the other stuff that we do, including the seasonal episodes from 14, crossover shits, and our Final Fantasy XI series, Vanity Elf Van Splainer. So check it out. And also, much love to our patrons. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.